Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Black and White United Show. I'm your host, Andreas. Thank you so much for tuning in with me today. In today's episode, we're going to continue the Player Spotlight series, and today we're going to talk about Harry Demattia. Roll the intro.
0, 1. Let's get started.
So we talk about players coming to football clubs, regardless of where they're drafted, and there's potential there. They're not quite ready. They need to sort of, develop their craft a little bit stronger in the twos, and the VFL is obviously a very strong competition. Excuse me. So there is an apprenticeship there that you may have to serve to get into the side, to get your fair go. And it's not always a consistent go. You can look at Ed Allen as a perfect example there, where he's done his time, he breaks in, chop and changes, injuries happen, players come back, and then, the thing with Harry Demattia is for the length of time that he's been at the football club now is the time for him to graduate from that apprenticeship, for him to turn around in the middle of this preseason or at the start of this preseason. I think we're at day 6 now, or day 7 at the time that this video is being filmed. It is time for him to step up and own a spot on the midfield. It is time for him to put pressure on the likes of Jack Crisp, put pressure on people like a Steel Sidebottom, put pressure on, you know, anybody in the midfield, put pressure on the kids that have come, put pressure on Ed Allen, put pressure on, you know, an Angus Anderson who's just come to the club, who, will be determined within the first few weeks of the season to stamp his authority and say, hey, I'm a matured bodied young footballer. I'm ready to have a go. Harry needs to now put his hand up for opening round and say, I'm ready to take the next step. Let's look at his VFL side of things. Now, obviously, I watch the VFL. I see him play. There are games, especially last season, where you'd barely see him and you'd wonder, I don't know if he's going to be able to obviously break into the side anytime soon. Then there's times where he's dominating in the twos, especially towards the back end of the season last year. I mean, that goal out of the middle where we played against Carlton at Optus Oval, and I think it was Carlton at Optus Oval, Icon Park or whatever it is. That's just showing my age. And, Carlton have just hit the front and he's taken the ball out the middle and he's run through it and he's kicked the goal. I mean, that is something that us as a football club, we are screaming for out of the middle and not having to rely on the old guys. The thing is, this is going to go one of two ways. This is going to be one of those ones where we've picked up and put time and effort into him and he just can't get in there. Is it a Finn McRae 2.0? Is it just someone that just can't seem to take the next step? Or on the flip side, is it someone who we've invested heavily into in the twos? He's done his apprenticeship. He's done his time. He's ready to go. He breaks into the team. He's just waiting for that injury to happen, or he's just waiting for the heavens to open. And once he goes in, he can stay in for a sustained period of time, and then actually play some good football and can contribute, and not just be a passenger in the team. Not just, I know the sub rule's not there anymore, but let's just say if it was for shits and giggles sake for 2026, where he plays as a sub, he comes on, he makes a bit of an impact, this is that. But for someone like a Roan Steele, I know potentially different positions on the wing or half back, and then someone who's dying to get into the midfield. But for someone like a Roan Steele to come in and, play 8 games of football or whatever he's played, and then to play in the final series and potentially play in a grand final and completely be overlook Harry Demattia. And with that said, I think a few times last season and a couple of times toward the end, I think he did get named as an emergency. For them to overlook him, it just shows that he's off. He's not ready yet. And the club's made a very, very, well educated estimation or prediction there. They see him more than what we do. We can see him in the twos. And I feel as if he's done his time. He just needs to get that opportunity. And it will be interesting to see now with the likes of a Tom Mitchell not there, that inside, gutsy wombat midfielder who's going to get the ball out and who's going to hand pass it off to a receiver, whether it's an IQ, a Jack Crisp, or one of the Dacos boys or Houston going there. Does Harry Demattia play that role? Does Harry Demattia come into the midfield and we're like, hang on a second, let's put him before Ed Allen, let's put him before anybody else. Let's let this kid show us now what he's got in the big time. It's going to be an interesting one. It's one of these ones where this season, I think there's going to be more eyes on him as our top draft pick a couple of years ago to come in and show what he's capable of doing because we are screaming. We are desperately screaming for a young kid that, homegrown, as in like he's already within our system. We didn't trade for anybody else or stuff like that. He's been in our club to come in and be like, this is my time. This is my time now to come in and I'm going to repay the club for all the effort and stuff they've put into me. I'm going to repay the club now, and I'm going to be a permanent fixture in this midfield moving forward. Now that the opportunity has arisen, and this, I know this spotlight is on Harry Demattia, but this same concept of give me this chance, earn the chance. So this is the time for these kids who have been in the system at our football club now for a prolonged period of time. As I said, TJ, Jacob Ryan, even Reef when he comes back in, Harvey Harrison. We need these crop of players, and the same concept applies to them as to Harry Demattia. It is time now to look at the older boys and say, I'm going to take your spot because the older boys are moving on soon. Even with the likes of Markov and Hoskin Elliott, obviously one delisted, one retired, there's opportunity there for a vast different number of positions. And I just think to myself in 2026, I would love to see Harry Demattia come in and be someone who challenges not just himself, but every other member of the football club and says, I'm going to play either in the middle, I'm going to play on the wing, I'll play on the half back, I'll play on the half forward. Get me into the starting 23 and I will show you what I can do. And if it's anything like that goal he kicked against Carlton in the twos, then, as I said, we're screaming for it. We need someone like that in there. He probably just needs his chance because if you don't give him the chance, and I'll finish up on this, if we as a football club don't give him the chance and he becomes Ed Allen 2.0, you're in for a bit, you're out, you can't break back in, you get overlooked and you only come in if we desperately need you. He will be that player where he will be so far above VFL level, it's not funny. But then there is daylight. And then when he gets to the AFL level, he's just not up to it. He's in that limbo. I call it football purgatory. It's that part in the middle where you're too good for VFL, you're not that good for AFL. You don't want to have a list full of the guys that need to take the next step. You can't have them there. And I understand you're always going to play the best side possible 100%, but you want to see these guys, stake their claim to be in that best side when it matters the most. So in 2026, I want to see Harry Demattia own the midfield. I want to see him come in, say, shut the gates, I'm in, and I either get injured or like for you guys to drop me, or, I got to have a relatively bad spell of form because I'm going to be someone in this football club who, is going to be someone that the club is going to depend on for a long, long period of time. That's what I want to see. I'd love to hear what you guys think about this one because all eyes are going to be on it heading into the season, especially as the season starts. So make sure you drop a comment. Tell me what you think. Call it as you see it. And as always, go the Pies.
Why they stopping me? Stopping me.